Gary. Long time no see. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone. One of my favorite things to do with 12 string is to I'm just jumping out for a few minutes just to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Yeah, one of my favorite, just drop D2. I guess it's very Bon Jovi-like. Let me see if I can get this chair a little higher. My chair is kind of dying. You know how it stops. It just starts sinking. Anyway, so how's everyone doing? Have a good Christmas? It was a different Christmas for us because Emma is not, in the state. She's up north in Washington, and Jack and his fiance went to New York to be with her parents on Christmas. And then Alex left Christmas morning to go up with his fiance up to the Bay Area to visit her family. So Beth and I were kind of alone on Christmas for the first time in 31 years. And not bad because we've poured into our marriage over the years. We always, one of the things I always did when we had little kids and we had no money. We had 3 little kids living in a 2-bedroom apartment and in downtown Pasadena. And every Friday we'd go on a date. Every Friday it was just the 2 of us without fail. And we had neighbors in the building that had kids and we would swap. We would watch their kids on, sometimes I think our date night was on Thursday so other people could go out on a Friday, but we would go out on, Thursday and somebody would watch our kids and then somebody would go out on Friday and we'd watch their kids. So babysitting didn't cost anything. And then there was this theater in Pasadena. I think it was $2 for 2 movies, and across the street was a Subway, and we'd get a large Subway, we'd split it and go to the movie. I think our total date night was like, I think it was like less than $15 every Friday for probably 10 years we did that. We just made it a point and made it so that it's the empty nest thing didn't really affect us too much. It affected us individually more than it did us as a couple, which happens to a lot of couples. And I think we were just combating it all the years, but yeah, it sounds like a romantic Christmas. Yeah, potentially. And then we did go out of town the next day, and I had been to Folk Music Center in Claremont. That's the place that Ben Harper's parents owns. I don't know if you know who Ben Harper is, but his parents own this. He grew up in this guitar store, and they have a museum too, which is kind of a bummer because none of the museum pieces are for sale. Not that they're valuable or anything, but they're just instruments from all over the world. They have a lot of ukuleles, a lot of guitars, and some Latin instruments and stuff, but mostly guitars, ukuleles, and then the stuff from all over the world. Most of it's not for sale. Oh, thanks, Ramesh. Um, so let's see. You're going to the dark side of 2020. I'm looking. I'm breaking out my accordions. Uh oh. Look out. Now, I remember when I was in a band in high school, the the kid who was the keyboard player in the band, actually his dad made him start on accordion, but that's how he learned how to play keyboards. His dad had I guess I want to say it's an electric accordion, but basically what it was is an accordion you didn't have to pump. It was always on kind of thing. Is that something you have, or are you going to have to squeeze it the whole time to keep the sound going? Oh, nice. You got a Gretsch lap steel. Very fun. Yeah, open G tuning is pretty much the most common thing, or D, or maybe E tuning. I have my lap steel perpetually probably in open G, which means the bottom string kind of useless. I might use it for some licks, but as far as playing on chords and everything, it's not very common. Um, hey, Strummer, what's going on? Good to see you. Martin Murray, let's see. I saw you. Ramesh, let's see. Oh, really? I didn't realize Ben Harper was married to Laura Dern. I guess they're about the same age. I think of Ben Harper as being younger, but they're probably the same age. Oh, yours is a squeeze one. Yeah, so that's a coordination thing, isn't it? Does it have chord buttons on the left hand and a keyboard on the right, or is it just keyboard? Oh, you have a dobro and open, yeah, G. Lap steel is going to be an open D. Okay. And also the dobro, the dobro tuning, the one that most dobro players use, I think, is GBD, which is, I usually go like my dobro right now. I don't have it set up that way because the strings are pretty heavy on it. I have it set up D, G, D, G, B, D. So it's like an open A chord kind of shape there, but only G. So if I bar the second fret and play, it's like an open A chord. Izzy Mamba. Happy New Year to you guys too. Um, yeah, so Christmas was a little subdued, potentially sad, but I think we got through it totally fine. And Alex, the thing is, we're with the kids all getting married, we're gaining family. So Alex's fiance and Alex came over Christmas morning with her parents, and we had a great time. Her parents are hilarious and a lot of fun, and we had a blast. So if that's an annual thing, we'll be happy. We had great food, and they're Italian Venezuelan, and Alex's parents, or sorry, I'm Alex's parent. Alex's fiance's parents met on Broadway. He was in Les Mis, and she was a dancer in Cats, and so they lived in New York for a while, but Alex's fiance was actually born here in Los Angeles. They moved here. He started working for Disney, still does, and does voiceover stuff and things like that. She works for Disney too, and Netflix, and other. She does a lot of voice acting. She also does dubbing. Which nice thing about dubbing was that when the strike was going on, the dubbing that was not affected. So she was still dubbing. I think it's non-union. There's no back end on dubbing. So in other words, when you hear someone speaking in English, she does actually. She's fluent in English and Spanish. So she can do that, and she's also in the. Let's see, Abrielle's in the Groundlings, which is kind of the Second City troupe in Chicago, like that John Belushi came from. That's the LA version. It's called the Groundlings. Or maybe in New York too. I'm not sure. But hey, Holly, what's going on? Are you guys gonna get a lot of rain? I don't. We're supposed to get rain tomorrow. I don't know how much. Does it say 24? Like. Um, let's see. I think we're supposed to get some rain tomorrow. Yeah. What does it say? Does it say 20? How many? Half an inch. I think it's probably going to be an inch when all said and done by the end of tomorrow. Oh, turn off the table. Oh, the lamp here. Yeah, I don't have my light that I usually have. Um, the it's in the other room because we were doing some grout work on tile in the kitchen, and I wanted as much light on it as possible to see what we were doing. So we finished that last night, and I just didn't bring it back in here because I'm not planning on being on very long. We're not doing a lesson. I'm just saying happy Christmas and Happy New Year. That's the Brits say Happy New Year. I got this in my stocking. A Cheers keychain, I guess. The kids know I'm a big Cheers fan. A couple of years ago on my birthday, it was one of the best birthday gifts I ever got. They paid to have Norm and Cliff wish me a happy birthday. So that was like awesome. That was the most fun gift. I mean, I know they don't know who the heck they're talking to, but it's just pretty funny to see them and to know that they took 60 seconds out of their life to say hi to me. It's just the coolest thing. Um, let's see. Yeah, the ground. Yeah. She's Alex's fiance. There's a chance she could end up in New York doing that. I mean, it's a very slim chance, but it is a farm club for SNL. And so she definitely she can do a lot of characters. She studied Shakespearean at the Royal Academy, so she lived in England for a while and studied Shakespeare. She teaches it, and she's very impressive. It's like I really don't know how they memorize all of that. To me, Shakespearean English is gibberish, and then to memorize all that gibberish. Oh my gosh, I don't know how they do it. See, I could use more. Now, see, this light will just like that. It's not good. Yeah, it's not good. So, anyway, that's so. She's both she and Alex are really work hard go getters. All of our kids are. All of our kids work really hard, and they're just always, you know they're always excelling at whatever they do. It's fun to watch. So it's fun to brag about. Yep. So it'd be cool if Alex said, yeah, he'd move to New York. I don't know what they would do if that happened, but she definitely um, she's definitely in that kind of desire. Not she's doing everything she's supposed to do to get that gig if she wants it. But I think she's pretty happy here too. So let's see what else is going. Hey Dennis, good to see you. Hey, we got most of the moderators. We got the vintage moderators, the original. Hey Brad, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Brad's a very good friend of mine, and Brad and a friend opened up a guitar store in Malibu. So if you're in Malibu, go to Malibu Music. You guys are going to be a Gibson dealer, right? I think you have to buy like $100,000 worth of Gibsons or something to be a dealer. It's probably more than that now. I asked Alex yesterday. I asked Alex because I didn't think he'd know. And to be honest, I was off. I asked Alex, how many Gibsons do I have? And again, keep in mind, I'm not bragging. Most of my guitars are pretty cheap guitars. In fact, I don't have anything really valuable. Um, but uh, these are just tools. You go to your mechanic and you expect him to have that giant, red or whatever, what's the other, blue or whatever the color is, with the drawers that pull out and it's just full of tools. You expect that of your mechanic. And so the composers I work for, the people I work for, expect their guitar player to have all the tools. And so I asked Alex, how many Gibsons do I have? And I calculated, I came up with 6, and then I remembered I have 7. My probably the first Gibson I ever got was my Gibson Les Paul that I got in like 1990. I hardly ever use it. And I got my dad didn't have a lot, but when he passed away, he left me a little bit of money, and I bought a Gibson, a nice Gibson 335 dot neck reissue, and he would have loved that. My dad, I know his whole life he wished he could have gone into a guitar store with me and say, pick out any guitar. And so that basically is what I did. And I always wanted a 335 and I never had one. And so I got that one. And I also have a Gibson 175, which is the one I bought from the guy who led me to Christ when I was 13 years old. And I said, don't ever sell this to anyone but me if you ever sell it. And then a few years ago, he needed to recarpet his house. So I bought it from him so he could recarpet his house. I overpaid for it, but he's still in ministry. He basically lives on nothing. So I was happy to give him enough for it to pay for his carpeting. Let's see what else. I have a Gibson tenor banjo from 1920. I bought that a few years ago on a road trip, and I really have only used it a few times. But it is really cool. The workmanship is unbelievable. I should get it out. It's over 100 years old. The workmanship on it is just unbelievable. Beautiful, and let's see. I also have a Gibson SG. You've seen the SG. That's probably one of my more recent purchases. And I have 2 Gibson acoustics. I have a Gibson Dove, which was my first acoustic. You can see a video on that on my YouTube channel. Yeah, PCH and Trackers, I know exactly where that is, Malibu Music. I know the shopping center that you're at. And then, let's see, I have a Gibson Folk Singer. And I told you about the Folk Singer. That's the one you've all seen because you've all watched that 7 Tips for Older Beginners. So many people ask me, is that a left-handed guitar? Because the pick guard's on the top and not on the bottom. And it never had a bottom pick guard since I've had it. Originally, it came with 2. That was the Folk Singer thing back in the 60s when they made that guitar. They went, these damn kids, they're using these things called plectrums and they're going to scrape up the wood. So let's just glue some plastic on the wood so they can't scrape up the wood. It's like, what's the point of having wood that you cover up? It didn't make any sense. But that was what they were thinking. So they made a folk guitar. It's actually basically steel strings, but it feels like a classical guitar because that's what the folk singers were using. They were using like a classical guitar, and a lot of them were stringing them up with steel strings, which sometimes can cause a problem. The bridge will pull up because it's not used to that kind of tension. So, Gibson came up with this guitar that was designed to have steel strings on it, but felt like body shape and neck shape felt like a classical guitar or a nylon guitar. Folk guitar is what they called them at the time, and yeah, Malibu Music, you can follow them on Instagram. They're probably not going to be on Google yet. It's brand new. They just opened. So go to Instagram and enter Malibu Music, and you'll see that I follow them. So you'll know you have the right place if you follow me on Instagram. And then, yeah, they just started, so Google's not going to have them up yet. Brad, you might want to have Jack take care of that. I'm not sure how you get a business registered with Google. Probably not that hard, but that's what I do. The first time when I'm going to a city, I pull up the Google map and I enter guitars and see where the guitar stores are, or if there are any guitar stores. That's the first thing I do. Because I'm always on the hunt for something. So, and I did order a couple things. I may order another thing today. Just a couple weird instruments that I don't have. One Latin one and one from from Georgia in the old Soviet Union, Georgia in the what's that? The dang, that's too bright, isn't it? Um, Georgia in the Baltic state, not Baltic, but behind the Iron Curtain. Grand opening. Oh, technically, grand opening is January. Okay, I thought you were already open. All right. Well, I will try to be there. When is NAMM? Uh, I couldn't get badges for NAMM. I'm having to actually buy one, which I didn't even know you could do. I didn't think it was open to the public, but I have a record of going there for the last 30 years, so maybe they're letting me buy one. I don't know. But I'm probably only going to go for a part of a day. It's just such a. I get my steps in at NAMM. And there's people there that it'd just be fun to see. Paul Davids will probably be there. I need to ask him if he's going to be there. Let me text him and see if he's going to be at NAMM. Oh. Let's see, where do I? Oh, here he is. Yeah. Maybe I'll do some filming there while I'm there. Maybe if I run into some people. I mean, talked to Rick Beato, Tim Pierce, um, a few other friends. It's always good to see friends. That's the main reason I go. Uh, at the opening. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Brad. What day of the week is it though? That's the problem. It's like if I've got to be at church, I hate to. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, 13th is Saturday, and my taxes are due that day. Ugh, gotta pay quarterlies that day. That's a big check. I'm not complaining. My goal is to pay $1 million in taxes next year. Yeah, the problem is the government would love me to pay $1 million in taxes. They're trying to figure out every way possible, especially California, to make me pay $1 million in taxes on $500,000 in income. They're close to doing it. NAMM is the next week. Yeah. Instagram link. Their handle. Oh, I should ask John Meyer if he's going to NAMM too. That'll kind of determine if I go, if some of these people are going. Hey, Joseph, what's going on? Saturday, 3. See, that's when I have to be at church. Okay, so I'll just make a trip out. Maybe I'll just make a trip out, and it's also a bit of a drive. But Brad, you do it all the time. But you have a house there, so you can spend the night. You can spend the night there, and come back the next. You can time it so there's no traffic going and coming. Next day open is January 3rd. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Technical grand opening though is the 13th. All right, I will. That's not a bad idea though to do a video there. I'll bring maybe a couple cameras and some tripods, and I can set up and we can. Jack's a phenomenal guitar player. He just the country stuff. He's actually multi-talented, but the country stuff he kills. And then I'm happy to promote it. Very, I've got 100 and how many? Hey, Bruce, how many subscribers do I have? I haven't even been paying attention. I feel like a watched pot never boils, right? Let's see, YouTube. Here we go. Do I have 128 yet? Oh yeah, 128 204. So almost to 130. Dang, that's crazy. 1100 in the last. It's actually up. Everything is up. Yeah. Oh, it's probably because it's Christmas. I do have a video idea that I want to do today. I shot another video, but I have to do the voiceover and edit it. But it's actually so. I think part of the problem for me, dang it, is that I got Final with my new laptop. I got Final Cut Pro, and it's just much more complex than it's got so many more options. But it's much more complex to do a video in Final Cut Pro than it is to do in iMovie. I should probably just go back to doing my videos in iMovie because you can't really tell a difference on your end. But yeah, 128. I should have 130 by, well, the end of February at least. So, but if I drop a couple more videos, so I've got an idea for a video today that will be an easy one. I think it just will require diagrams. I'll tell you what it is. I'm just not going to tell you what I'm specifically, but you can figure it out. I'm going to do a video on attention grabbing chords or party stopping chords or whatever I want to call it. I did a whole series on that. Old videos. I want to replace those videos or maybe even pull those down. Well, there's probably no reason to pull down a video, but I'm going to consolidate them all into one video. So those plus extra chords. I've got new ones that I can put in there too. So let's see. I have to call into the buddy. Thanks, Gary. I really appreciate it. You do your thing, man. Hey, Wendy. Everyone, Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year. Richard Abdul, good to see you. Joseph Galasso, sorry. Hello. Let's see. Did I say hi? Have I pretty much gotten everybody? Yeah, Brad, we'll set that up. Shooting a video there, and then I'll post it on my Insta. I could go live, but more people will see it if I make it a legitimate video. The only downside is I'll have to edit it. So I'll try to just make it a video about me going to a friend's store and not try to make it too complex. Maybe I'll bring Alex so he can be holding the camera. I've also got I got the iPhone, is this the 15 or the 14? But it's got a really nice camera with a cinematic mode. So I could kind of throw that in there as well. And we'll see, we'll figure it out. January is already filling up. I've been really, really busy. In fact, but I got a ton of work sent me, and I'm all caught up. I'm waiting for more to come in as it happens. I'm shocked because this week is usually slow, but I'm happy about it. And I will happy solstice, Christmas. Yeah, it's funny. I really am aware of that day that the days start getting longer. It's like the pools are. It's like, oh dang it, the pool's going to start getting warmer. It's actually not. It's going to get colder. We're getting cold this week. So, but we cold plunged yesterday and the pool was like 56 degrees. It's really not very cold. I mean, it feels cold when you're in it, but those cold plunge tanks, people tend to set them at 38 degrees. So we're a long way from 38. The coldest we've ever had the pool that I've measured is 48 degrees. And that was almost unbearable. So I don't know how somebody does 38 degrees. My friend does 8 minutes a day at 38 degrees. I don't know how he does it. But his wife does like 2 minutes or like about 90 seconds at 38 degrees. My other friend has a cold plunge tank, and his wife won't let him set it lower than 48 degrees, which is funny because it's like she won't use it if it's lower than 48. I'm like, oh man. But we just use the pool. And when we bought the house, keep in mind, I didn't get our house until I was, what year was that? It was 19. I was 58 years old. So I turned 58 that year. It took us forever because California expensive. My income went up every year, but house prices did this every year. So it was like, oh, my income went 5%, up 5% this year. And then the house prices went up 20%. So it was kind of like, That and then when house prices crashed in California, well, they didn't go down in Pasadena. They just leveled off for a couple of years. So that really didn't help us unless we wanted to move out to like Riverside or Vegas or something. And then and yet my career actually did really well. Generally during COVID, during the 2008 recession, my career actually bumped up a notch, which is interesting. I don't know why, but I thank God for that, because it of course everybody was worried in both those scenarios. But in both times my career went, I couldn't talk about it because we had friends that were hurting and we didn't want to say anything. But it's amazing to look back and go, wow, that's so weird at the timing. Hey, Kathy, what's going on? It's crazy that, hey, Miguel, what's going on? Just found you from the ETA video, new acoustic player here, and just subscribed. Well, awesome. Thank you, Miguel. I appreciate it. Yeah, I play a lot of acoustic. I was just doing some classical. My nails I broke a nail, broke my thumbnail. I don't even remember how. I just looked down and it was broken. I'm like, how did I do that? I hate that. So I try to keep my nails. I broke my pinky one too, which really is only for flamenco stuff. I got to pick this up every day though, and I don't do it. But I got to work on my rasgueados. Rasgueados are those things that flamenco players do that that kind of stuff. And I took a lesson from a flamenco player, and he showed me one. A triplet one that I have to work on. I don't do it every day, but it's basically it's thumb up, like middle finger down, or you can use all your fingers down, and then thumb down. I use my middle finger, and he said really it's kind of like just like you're doing, hey, hang 10, right? Like the beach kit, the surfers do. Is to relax. I can feel tension right here because I'm stressing about it. What I'd like to do is be able to do he also showed me a rumba groove. So rumba is very, very common groove to play, or to be asked to play, because keep in mind I do studio work. So play a rumba groove for this. I'm like, cool. So the reason I took lessons from this particular guitar player was because I was watching his videos on YouTube, and he's in California, but he said, if you're recording, do the rumba groove with one finger. Don't use your all fingers, because you don't want it to be too loud. And I went, this is the guy I got to take lessons from, the guy that is thinking about recording, because most people don't think that. Because flamenco guitar is generally supposed to be loud, because you're competing with a singer. Usually you don't have a mic, and there's someone who with castanets and taps on their shoes. So there's a lot of noise. So flamenco guitars, and so normally like a rumba groove would be let's see if I can think of a good. And you could do it with a pick. Seen guys do that in the studio, be like, but the more legit. And so that's a ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-ba-da, ba-da. Usually you're putting a pause on beat 3. One, so it's like, oh no, yeah. 1 and 2 and 4 and. Yeah, that's February, Lake County. That's got to be insane. Now the NFL or the football players, even in high school kids, they'll get in those ice baths. So I don't know if they use saline or salt water. If they use salt water, those could be under 32 degrees. But regardless, if you're in a bath full of ice, you're looking at just north of freezing, because the ice cubes are frozen. They could be 20 degrees. You don't know how cold they could be. They could be 1 degree. So yeah, you're looking at pretty cold water. Anyway, so I'd like to be able to get that raschiato, that triplet raschiato, in there, inside of the Roomba groove, and I really haven't worked on it. It's just one of those things where I'm like, oh, I need to be able to do that. Like in slow motion, it might be something like, let's see, what would I do? Like, yeah, I should conceptualize the rhythm first. So it would be 8 notes for 6 beats and then 2 beats of triplets. Okay, you see that? You kind of have to do 2 beats of triplets, because otherwise you're going to end up with an upstroke instead of a downstroke. If you were doing, for example, with a pick. Now fast, I could probably do it with a pick. It's cool sounding though, and you can actually do it like you can do it without a chord. So what I'm going to do is, and this is one of, people ask you how to practice. People ask me all the time, how should I practice? And I should probably do a video on this. In fact, let me just add this thought that I'm having right now to paper so that I have a copy of it. But basically, how to practice. People ask me how to practice. And one of my tricks is to create your own curriculum. Oops. Own curriculum. Whatever. Yeah. And what that means is basically, if you've got something you want to learn, see, okay, now I've got a white piece of paper on my screen over here. So it's actually, if I click away from that, so that actually works. Isn't that funny? It's just a Word doc sitting there, untyped. Now here's the thing with going back to the cold plunging. You're not supposed to take a hot shower afterwards. You're not supposed to get in a jacuzzi afterwards. You're just supposed to let your body come back to normal temperature on its own. And you can put your clothes, you can get dressed and get dried off and everything. But basically, I don't sit next to the fireplace. I don't anything like that. I just kind of I'm a little cold for a while. Maybe my toes are cold. My hands might be cold. Whatever. Long Time by Linda Ronstadt. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm sure I know that song. I'm sure anything Linda Ronstadt does is awesome. I did get my call in. Oh, good. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. Excuse me, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Oh, practice. Yeah, so for example, like what I was just talking about, wanting to integrate the raschiato, the triplet raschiato into the Roomba pattern. Now, ultimately, what I would want to do is do 16th note triplets on beat 4. So, again, hearing it, conceptualize it, maybe you with a pick. So that would be like. So that would be six strums. You may even have to just practice those with a pick so you can practice hearing them and knowing what they sound like, so you know it when you get it. But 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. I actually went too fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, so let me. Let's see. So, and that's where you have to figure out where is your thumb, what direction is your thumb going to be going at that moment. Because again, that particular raschiato, and there's dozens of ways to do a raschiato. One of the ways is like, that's kind of my made up way. And it's a triplet and it works. It just doesn't have a thumbnail in it. So I'm going index down and then, see, and then middle up, index up. I just have to kind of move my arm to get the bass notes. That's one I made up to kind of accommodate that. The 5-finger raschiato is pinky, 4, 3, 2, 1, see, and then 1 up. That's really hard to loop. Like, you could do that. That I can do, but then the double to do 2 of those in a row. That's not so easy. Anyway, I gotta get, let's see, check my email real quick. Okay. Yeah, I've got to, I've got some stuff I'm going to do. You can see in the hallway there, I'm going to put a couple guitar hangers in there. Alex brought me some more that were in my studio, his studio that was my old studio. And he doesn't use them, so he brought them to me, and I'm going to install those today. So I have a couple more guitars up there. I think I'm going to have, I'll get rid of one of the ones that's on this rack over here. I'll have it up there. I'm not sure, probably maybe one of the Squires or something like that. But I think I'm going to go ahead and put out the Jaguar so I remember I have it. Alex and I were, oh yeah, the 7 Gibsons I have, we're talking about those. And I said, well, how many Fenders do I have? And he goes, well, that's hard because you have a lot of Fenders. And I said, well, not Squires. And we started counting the Fenders, and he forgot the Jaguar. Like I got to a number. I forgot actually the new one. I forgot the Ed O'Brien Strat. It's in my gig bag for church, so that's why I forgot about it. But he forgot about the Jaguar. So I got the Jaguar. I think I got that last year, at the end of last year or something. And I've used it, but I just forget. It's got I love the Jaguar sound. It's such a nasally kind of lo-fi 60s sound. It's such a great instrument. Hey, David, that's good to see you, man. Lee Sklar has been doing great videos. Yes. On Linda, yeah. I mean, gosh, that guy's played with everybody. I did Lee, it's funny because Lee recognized, every time I see Lee at the NAMM show, he says hi. He knows who I am. We've worked on some projects together, but mainly I've sat next to him for one gig. I subbed for Steve Lukather, which is, that alone was the coolest thing. For Christmas, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, shoot, what's the bass player from Spinal Tap? Shoot, what's his name? It was for his Christmas party, and that's where I met, Lee was playing bass, so Lee and I were sitting next to each other. And then, what else? He was, Peter Asher sang a song, his famous song, Peter and Gordon song. and I got to hang out with him, talk to him about Paul McCartney and his parents' house and stuff like that. And then what was the Fred Willis, the Fred Willis, is that right? He was old, but he was a nice guy. What a sweetheart of a guy. I was talking to him. He was clearly had cancer or something. He was pretty weak, but he did a song. It was really really fun. Not Nigel Tufnells, Derek Smalls. Who plays Derek Smalls? He's also a voice actor on uh, Simpsons. Harry Shearer. Yeah, Simpsons, they're set for life, man. The royalties, the residuals on The Simpsons, how many years? 35 years now? Something like that. I mean, they started when George Bush Sr. was president. Because I remember they were like, had a problem with Bart calling, they thought it was disrespect. Barbara Bush thought it was disrespectful for Bart to call his dad Homer. Oh, I wish I could do it. Yeah, I wish I could do a video with. Well, you saw. I don't know if you saw Rick Beato's video with Lee Sklar. That was actually a really good video. I thought it was really good. Rick asks very good questions. I thought his video with Lukather was really good. With Luke, because Luke's not an easy interview, but there were a lot of things that they talked about, and Rick's guitar IQ is off the charts. So he knows all about harmony and chords and picking and strumming, all these different things. And so yeah, it's just Derek Smalls. Yeah, yeah, it's Harry Shearer. Thank you, thanks, Bob. Hey, we got all the moderators now. How many do we have? I haven't even been paying attention. I don't know if anybody's going to want to go back. Okay, we peaked at 27. That's not bad. Not bad at all. I've gotten, the channel is actually kind of blowing up. So I'm going to try to do a video here. I'm going to shoot a video here in a little bit. And it's basically going to be a consolidation of all my party stopping chords that I did videos like 10 years ago or 7 years ago or whatever. So I'm gonna do a better looking video of those, and then yeah. So hopefully I'm gonna have a lot of diagrams. I think the diagrams I'm gonna make the diagrams. You know how I make the diagrams, like with the chords and everything. But I'm gonna put the fingering. I'm going to put the notes, and then I'm gonna put the voicings. So what the voice is. Okay. So in other words, like I'll play it on 12 string. Oops. So E minor would be 0, 2, 2, 0, 0, 0. It would be E, B, E, G, B, E, and it would be root, fifth, root, third, fifth, root. I love for you to have all of that information. I think it's real important to start to learn your notes, particularly if you're playing up the fretboard. The problem is when I use, like, if I play like that, it would be A flat, E flat, A flat, C, E flat, A flat. So then I've got all these little flat symbols, so I have to make that makes it work. If I got rid of it's even then though, if you're doing this chord tone, it's going to be like, well, sharp 11 I guess might be one, but 13 or something, I don't know. Anyway. Yep, sip. Who's the nicest player? Amazing video would be you, Tim Pierce, Lee Sklar discussing being a working musician. Yeah, those guys, I don't know. I feel like they do more work than me, but I in some ways, well, definitely Lee. I mean, Lee is constantly touring, stuff like that. I never got the big tour. I never did that. Tim kind of cut his teeth, I think, touring with post hits with Rick Springfield. See, I don't think he was originally with Rick Springfield, like when Jesse's Girl and all that, but he played on Rick Springfield records. And that was one of the things, that would be an interesting question to ask him. It's like, it's very rare for the band guitar player to play on the records too. And I don't know which came first. They play on the record and they say, hey, would you go on tour to support the record? And that's a more common kind of thing to happen than to have the touring musician get asked to play on the record. A lot of touring musicians get upset about that. There was a movie that I watched. It was not very good. It felt like it was a big promotional video for the guy that was making it. I think he was a guitar player for Alice Cooper or something like that. I forget what it was called. But it was a lot of the people that tour with Alice Cooper, and I'm like going, yeah, I wouldn't call and also the people that toured with Billy Joel at the beginning, and we're all bitter because he wasn't using them anymore. And it's like they're like for back in like the 90s and the 2000s or whatever, there were like 5 artists. If you could get on the road, like Paul McCartney was a major artist, like Elton John, Billy Joel, who else? It was like if you got that tour, you knew you were the tops. And Billy Joel was definitely one of those at one point. So, but they were bitter that they weren't in the band anymore. Apparently Alice kind of goes through musicians too or something, but yeah, I'd be curious if Tim did that. I'd be happy to, I don't think I would garner that much for his channel. I think the thing he'd like to know is how the heck did I end up writing songs with Justin Bieber? That's something that like a lot of the session guys, they didn't get that transition into writing pop songs, not the older ones. So that's very rare. The opportunities I've had in my career are really odd, and so I'm happy to do them. But it's just like, it's really kind of, for me, it's about being in the right place at the right time, and not being afraid to ask. Hey, that was the case with all the music I wrote for Let's Make a Deal. Made a lot of money doing that, and it was a situation where a friend of mine was one day on the job as the head audio engineer, and he and I wrote music together. And I said, ask them if they need music, because I'm not going to do that on my first day. And we were on the phone. He was in Vegas. I literally was on the phone with him. I said, let's pray. And I prayed, Lord, give Jeff an organic opportunity. In other words, a natural opportunity where it didn't feel like you're self-promoting. And literally calls me the next day and he says, you won't believe what just happened. I was standing at craft services, which is where the food is. Like they'll have muffins and coffee and chips and fruit and vegetables and stuff like that, sandwiches sometimes. And it's like whenever all the crew are taking a break, they go over to craft services and get some food. And he goes, I was standing over at craft services and the producers were saying how much they hate the music on the show. And I said, oh, my friend and I write music. And at that point, we had a couple songs on, more than a couple, probably 3 or 4 songs on The Price is Right, which was kind of the big brother to Let's Make a Deal. And they go, you have music on Price is Right? And I said, yeah. Oh, then, yeah, feel free to send us something. Well, I wrote, I didn't sleep for 2 weeks. I wrote a ton of music. Jeff came back, played drums on it, mixed it, made it sound like a freaking record. And yeah, praying works. I tell you, it was normally, God's answer is always wait. Like buying a house. I mean, I prayed for a house back when I was 27, didn't get it till I was 57, so it was probably a good thing. But yeah, it was crazy, and we wrote for that show for 4 or 5 years, and so it was huge to kind of get me in that world. And so that was huge. Carol Kaiser, yeah, she's amazing. She's a good guitar player. That's how she started. She's getting up there, though. I don't think she really does session work anymore. The funny thing is, I'm getting up there. I'm like, I hope I have, I try to take care of myself. I don't drink, really, and although I did have a little bit of whiskey last night. I got some honey-infused whiskey for Christmas. And it was okay. It was not bad. On ice, I didn't go neat. I put it on ice. Where's my Christmas present? I don't know yet. What's up, Pastor? I'm preaching. Am I preaching? Sorry about that. Anyway, the real Christmas present was on Christmas, the original Christmas Day. That's the present to 100% of the world's population, and it's a free gift. Doesn't cost anything. That's the thing, is most people want to pay, even when you get gifts from your friends or whatever. You want to make sure that you get them a gift of equal value. Well, with the reason we celebrate Christmas, you can't give a gift of equal value. So you just have to accept. That's the thing. That's the crazy thing about Christmas. Probably perfect video to talk about that. But yeah, that's what's so difficult, because so many religions and so many, and even a lot of Christian religions or a lot of Christian denominations, or they talk about, works and doing things and earning no, you can't earn it. There's no way. There's no way to earn it. Oh, Honey Jim Beam, I didn't know they made that. Interesting. Well, it was okay. Beth loved it. She thought it was great. It was like her favorite whiskey ever. So we're in trouble. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was, it was, yeah, I'm all over the map here on talking about Jesus and whiskey. Those are not polar opposite things. Jesus turned water to wine. Don't forget, that was his first miracle. And it was good wine. They even said at the wedding, it was a wedding in Canaan, and they said at the wedding, why did you bring out the good stuff at the end of the wedding? Normally you save the cheap stuff when everybody's drunk and they can't taste the difference. So that beer, and the last thing that Jesus did with his disciples was the Last Supper. They had wine, they broke bread, they had wine together. And I think he even said that's what they're going to do together when they first see each other, which is encouraging. To me, that means in heaven we will be eating, which is freaking awesome. So, band Striper, yeah. Oz Fox, no, I never knew Oz. I don't know Oz, yeah. I remember seeing Striper once remember back in the day when Calvary Chapel, back in the early 80s, well, they did it in the 70s, early 80s, they would do like Saturday night concerts. And I saw Striper one time there. It was a long drive from Pasadena, and so it was in Costa Mesa, and I would go down a couple times, but yeah, Brad, you like that part of the Bible. It's your favorite part of the Bible. But I am no pastor. I'm not certified or licensed or anything like that. But yeah, like I said, the thing is, the Christmas gift, the real gift is what God gave us, and that's totally free. You cannot buy it. You cannot repay it. You cannot earn it. And that's the tough thing. That's where the biggest obstacle to having a relationship with God is pride, because you want to pay for this thing, and God's going, no, you can't. If you can afford it, it's too cheap. It's not worth it, right? It's like what was it? W.C. Fields said, if the club will have me, I don't want to join it, or something like that. It's kind of like that. So, did alcohol? Yeah. Well, yeah. So did who else got drunk and then slept with his daughter-in-law or something? I forget. Anyway, there's all sorts of. If you read the Old Testament, you don't need to watch Showtime or HBO. You can just read the Old Testament. They couldn't make that stuff into movies. They wouldn't allow it. So, am I gonna play a Heartful solo today? No. I'm actually gonna sign off right now. Oh, geez. A tumor near zero. Oh, interesting. Oh, geez. Oh, well. Big man. That was a lot. No, yeah, a lot. Yeah. yeah. What was going on there? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, the angels, they're like, yeah, that was crazy. What was it they came over to sleep with the angels. The angels came to visit Lot, and then the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, the guys came over, and they're like, hey, we'll sleep with the angels. We don't need your daughters. It's like, what the heck, dude? It's like crazy. It was like, yeah, not salvageable. Woody Allen. That was a Woody Allen quote. Yeah, another Woody Allen quote was, because he had a bullet in his pocket. Somebody threw a Bible at him, and the bullet saved his life because it hit the bullet. Anyway, Woody. I love Woody Allen. I mean, I was a Woody Allen fan way back when. I read all his books when I was a kid. Also, what was his name? Levinson? Sam Levinson. I read all those books. That's so funny. And Irma Bombeck. I was really into humor books. So I read Irma, like literally, I'm like junior high kid reading Irma Bombeck, Sam Levinson, and Woody Allen books. So, Woody Allen did not abuse women, false charges. Yeah, I have my own opinions on that Woody Allen's thing. Yeah, I mean, when you marry your stepdaughter and like you had, from 8 to, that's suspect. But she was of age when they married. When in fact she was of age when they started technically dating, I guess. But it's still a little weird. Your adopted daughter, not stepdaughter. It would be adopted daughter or something like that. Anyway, yeah, it's just they're in their own world. Celebrities kind of have their own set of rules. Yeah, and I know that. Yeah, I know about Mia Farrow's claims, and yeah. What was the other? Ronan Farrow was the one that kind of dispelled that. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't make a hero out of any human, because at some point any human's gonna. That's why I hate it when like Christians like. Some celebrity becomes Christian and they go, hey, look who's on our team now. And then they hold them up really high and then something happens and they fall from grace or whatever. And it's like, never do that. I don't do that with anybody, let alone saying, hey, look who's on our team now. Unless I'm talking about like sports teams, that's different. Then you're like, hey, look who's on our team now. Look who the Rams got or whatever. Yeah, the Dodgers, for example. Look at who the Dodgers got. Holy cow. That's a contract and a half. All right. I got to go. I'm sorry. I didn't plan on being on here this long, but I'm going to try to do a video today, or I've got other things I got to work on, but I'll try to do that today. And thank you all. I'll see you next year. I probably won't log on New Year's Day, but I might. I don't have anything going on that day, but it will probably not feel like a Monday, so I'll just forget. But I do get a notification, but we'll see if I actually do that. If not, I'll potentially see you the next Monday. I do have a project that has to be completely done by the 8th, but I have nothing left right now to work on, so I don't know what's coming. So if I may have to work all the 8th, and that would be the next Monday. So we'll see. I'll take I'll hold my finger to the wind and see how much work is coming, and we'll determine that. But hopefully I'll be able to shoot a video today and drop it soon. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye-bye.